Every disaster has a paper trail, a company name, a board of directors, a mission statement that sounded perfectly reasonable right up until the moment everything went catastrophically wrong. A press release that nobody ever got to read because the world ended before the PR team could finish drafting it in Toxic Commando's world. That paper trail leads to one place, the Obsidian Group, and today we are going to follow that trail all the way back to the beginning. Not just the drilling, not just the disaster, all of it, the dream, the warning signs, the cover-up, the collapse, and the obsessive one-man mission to fix what the company broke, because the story of the Obsidian Group isn't background noise. It isn't set up. It is the story. Without this company, without what it built, what it believed, and what it absolutely refused to stop doing, even when every signal in the universe was screaming at it to stop. None of this happens. No sludge, no infected zones, no wall. No sludge got loose on the surface, just a normal planet with normal problems. The Obsidian Group changed all of that. And the most terrifying part, they had the best intentions in the world. Let's go back, way back, before the sludge, before the wall, before the infected zones and the mutated creatures and the 4 mercenaries fighting through waves of things that used to be human. Back to when the Obsidian Group was just a company with a dream, and what a dream it was. The near future of Toxic Commando's world looks a lot like our own energy crisis, the climate disasters, civilization running on borrowed time and borrowed fuel. The kind of problems so enormous and so deeply embedded that most people have simply accepted them as permanent features of human existence. Not a quirk to be fixed, just a world, just how things are. Corporations had tried to solve the energy crisis for decades. Solar wind, nuclear fusion, every solution either too expensive, too limited, too slow to implement, or too politically complicated to actually get off the ground at scale. The world kept spinning, the crisis kept growing, the temperature kept rising, and nobody had the answer, until Leon Dorsey said he did. The Obsidian Group under Leon wasn't built like a normal energy company. Most corporations in this space were cautious, incremental. They develop a slightly better solar panel and call it progress, file the patents, issue the press release, take the photo. Leon wasn't interested in slightly better. Leon was interested in the answer, the definitive, permanent, civilization-changing answer to every energy problem humanity had ever faced, the discovery that made everything else obsolete overnight. And he believed he had found it, deep beneath the Earth's surface, deeper than any drilling operation had ever gone before. Leon was convinced there was a limitless power source waiting to be unlocked, something so fundamental and so vast that tapping into it would rewrite humanity's entire relationship with energy. Clean, unlimited, free, revolutionary, the kind of discovery that gets your name in history books. The kind of discovery that turns a successful CEO into the person who actually saved human civilization. Leon Dorsey wanted to save the world, and the Obsidian Group was the machine he built to do it. A multinational tech company, some of the best scientific minds on the planet. Engineers, geologists, drilling specialists, energy researchers, all brought together under one roof with one mission. Go deep enough, find it, change everything. For a while, it looked like it was working. And then the dream started. This is the detail that most people skip right past when they talk about the Obsidian Group story. And I think it's the most important detail of all, because the warning didn't just come from outside the company, it came from inside it. As more and more workers joined the drilling project, scientists, engineers, contractors, support staff, more and more of them started reporting the same thing independently of each other. They were seeing something when they closed their eyes. A demonic creature, the same creature, described the same way by people who had never spoken to each other about it, appearing in dreams, appearing in the half-awake moments between sleeping and waking, appearing when exhausted workers closed their eyes at their workstations, the same image over and over. Across the entire workforce, think about that for a second. This wasn't one person having a bad dream. This wasn't 2 engineers comparing notes and freaking each other out. This was a widespread, consistent, independently reported phenomenon happening to a significant number of people working on the same project at the same location. The sludge god was not passively sleeping down there, waiting to be disturbed. It was already reaching upward, already pushing itself into the minds of the people above it, already making its presence felt through the one channel it had available before the drill broke through the dreams of every human being working in proximity to where it slept. It was announcing itself. And the Obsidian Group kept drilling anyway, because in a company built around science and evidence and rational decision making, what do you do with mass reported dreams? You document them. You note them as a psychological phenomenon possibly related to work stress or shared environmental factors. You maybe bring in a consultant, and then you keep drilling because the mission is the mission. Now, on top of the dreams, before a single drill bit even broke ground at the final target location, something else happened that should have stopped everything dead. A group of cultists showed up, and I want you to really picture this moment because it is the moment everything hinges on. These aren't protesters with signs standing outside a gate somewhere. These are people who have organized their entire existence around a single purpose, protecting what is buried beneath the earth at that exact location, generations of them. A belief system old enough that it predates the Obsidian Group by centuries, possibly millennia. They knew the location, they knew what Leon was planning, and they delivered a message so clear and so specific that there is absolutely no way anyone misunderstood it. Something ancient is sleeping down there, something that has been there since before human civilization existed, something that should never under any circumstances be disturbed. Whatever you think you're going to find down there, you're wrong, and if you drill through that ground, you're going to wake something up that this world is not prepared to face. That was the warning, direct, specific, delivered in person. And now combine that with the dreams. The entire workforce already seeing a demonic entity every time they close their eyes. And then cultists showing up at the door saying, yes, that thing you're all dreaming about. It's real, it's down there, please stop. Two completely separate warnings, one internal, one external, both pointing at the same conclusion. And Leon Dorsey, CEO of the Obsidian Group, the man who was going to save human civilization, looked at all of it. Heard every word, considered every signal, and drilled anyway. Now, I want to be fair to Leon here because this matters for understanding how the Obsidian Group made decisions. From the perspective of a rational, evidence-driven, scientifically minded CEO running one of the most ambitious clean energy projects in human history, what exactly was he supposed to do? He had engineers, scientists, geologists, some of the most qualified experts on Earth telling him the drilling was safe and the energy source was real. And on the other side, he had mass-reported dreams that could have a dozen scientific explanations and cultists whose entire worldview was built around an ancient sleeping entity beneath the Earth. In Leon's mind, this wasn't even a close call. Of course you proceed. Of course you don't let shared stress dreams and ancient mythology derail a project that could end the energy crisis forever. That's not stupidity. That's not cruelty. That's not even arrogance in the traditional sense. That's the Obsidian Group's entire operating philosophy, distilled into a single moment: progress over caution, evidence over superstition, the mission above everything. It's exactly the kind of thinking that builds great companies, and sometimes, very occasionally, it's exactly the kind of thinking that ends the world. October 29th, 2:30, the drill breaks through, the sludge god erupts from beneath the earth, the corruption begins spreading. The world starts changing in ways nobody at the Obsidian Group had any framework to understand. The scientists, guards, and workers near the drill site, everyone within range, start transforming into something that no longer has a scientific classification, shambling, controlled, the connected to whatever just came out of the ground. In a single day, the most ambitious clean energy project in human history becomes the origin point of a global apocalypse. And here's what most people focus on: the catastrophe itself, the sludge. The infected, the chaos spreading outward from the drill site. What I want to focus on is what the Obsidian Group does in the immediate aftermath, because this is the moment that truly defines the company. Not the drilling, not the ambition, not even the decision to ignore every warning they received. This moment, the infection is spreading. The drill site is a catastrophe. People are transforming. The scale of what just happened is beginning to become clear to anyone paying attention inside the Obsidian Group. And their first move is to cover it up. Not evacuate, not alert authorities, not stand in front of cameras and say, we made a mistake. Here's what we know, here's how we are responding, here's where you should go to be safe. Cover it up. Leon hires a fixer named Gallagher. Private military contractors are deployed into the infected zone with one mission: contain this quietly before the world finds out what the Obsidian Group actually did. Keep the outbreak inside the drill site. Keep the information inside the company. Handle it internally. This is the Obsidian Group's operating philosophy applied to a catastrophe it was never designed to handle. The same instinct that drove them to keep drilling through the dreams and through the cultist warning. We know best. We can handle this. Trust the mission is now being applied to an ancient god that is actively rewriting the surrounding environment. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. 6 months pass. And in those 6 months, everything that can go wrong does go wrong. The private containment teams get infected, the sludge keeps spreading outward from the drill site, slowly at first, and then faster than anyone is tracking. Mutations get worse, creatures appear in and around the infected zone that don't match anything in any scientific record. The strange organic formations begin growing out of the corrupted ground like the earth itself is being rebuilt from the inside out into something hostile to human life. The wall goes up, a massive containment structure built around the drill site and the surrounding infected land. Enormous. A physical border between what the world used to be and whatever the infected zone is becoming. The stated plan is to seal the zone completely and eventually destroy everything within it, but the infection doesn't read the plan. It keeps spreading inside the containment area. The sludge growth keeps expanding, the mutations keep getting worse. The wall holds the geography, but it cannot hold the sludge god's influence on everything caught inside it. And the Obsidian Group, the company that was going to solve the energy crisis and save human civilization, collapses, not dramatically, not in a single press conference or a single announcement. It crumbles slowly as the cover-up fails and the scale of the disaster becomes impossible to hide. The truth leaks out in pieces. The company Leon spent his life building falls apart around him as the consequences of October 29th become undeniable to the outside world. The dream of clean, unlimited energy for all of humanity, dead. The company gone, the mission over. Everything the Obsidian Group was supposed to represent collapsed under the weight of what it accidentally unleashed. But here's where the Obsidian Group story takes a turn that most people don't see coming. Because Leon doesn't leave. When most people in his position would have fled, disappeared into some fortified compound far from the infected zone, and spent the rest of their days quietly avoiding accountability, Leon Dorsey stays. He sets up his base of operations inside the quarantine zone, right there, inside the wall, inside the disaster. And instead of shutting down, he doubles down on something he has been quietly working on since the cover-up began. Project Godkiller. This isn't a vague plan, this isn't a theoretical research initiative. Project Godkiller is Leon's obsessive, focused, everything I have left attempt to build something capable of destroying the sludge god entirely. Not contain it, not study it, not manage it, kill it, the brainian. And Project Godkiller isn't just a concept, it produces something real, something physical, something. The commandos are sent into the infected zone specifically to retrieve the God-Killer truck, a purpose-built vehicle designed specifically for the mission of destroying an ancient god, buried inside a sludge-choked explosives factory deep in the infected zone, wrapped in tendrils when the commandos find it, requiring a full-on extraction mission just to get it back out again while waves of infected creatures pour in from every direction trying to stop them. This is what the Obsidian Group's legacy looks like in the late game. Not press releases, not shareholders meetings. A specific truck in a specific factory that a billionaire believes can kill the thing his company accidentally set free. The same drives that built the Obsidian Group from nothing. The same refusal to accept that a problem cannot be solved. The same absolute certainty pointed at a new target. I caused this, I will fix this, I will build whatever it takes. And there's one more piece of the Obsidian Group's legacy sitting in the infected zone that is worth talking about. Because the company's technology didn't disappear when the Obsidian Group collapsed, it got repurposed. The Obsidian OEP, an experimental beam weapon originally developed by the company, ends up in the hands of the Toxic Commandos. A weapon built from the same technological foundation that caused all of this in the first place, now being used to fight the thing that foundation accidentally released. And then there are the sludge-based weapons, tools that harness the corruption itself as a power source. The very thing the sludge god spreads to terraform the planet being redirected and weaponized by the 4 mercenaries trying to stop it. Think about the irony of that. For a moment, the Obsidian Group drilled for energy. They were looking for a power source that would change everything. They found one. It just happened to be an ancient god that wanted to end human civilization rather than power it. And now the commandos are using energy harvested from that god's own corruption to fight it. In the most twisted way imaginable, the Obsidian Group did find the limitless energy source they were looking for. It's just killing everybody, and that is the full legacy of the Obsidian Group in Toxic Commando's world. Not a story of evil, not a story of greed in the traditional sense, a story of a company so committed to its mission, so utterly convinced of its own rightness that it drilled through visions, through cultists, through every warning the universe could send, and kept pushing forward right up until the moment the planet started fighting back. The workers saw the creature in their dreams and kept drilling. The cultists came to the door and kept drilling. The mission was the mission, and the mission ended the world. The most haunting part of the whole thing is that the Obsidian Group wasn't full of bad people. It was full of believers, scientists who thought they were making history, engineers who thought they were solving humanity's greatest problem, researchers who came to work every day genuinely convinced that what they were building mattered. None of them wanted this. Not the infected workers who transformed on day one, not the scientists watching their life's work become a catastrophe, not even Gallagher, the fixer sent in to clean up a mess that was never going to be cleaned up quietly. Just people doing a job, believing in a mission right up until October 29th, 2033, when a drill broke through and the answer they found was nothing like the answer they were looking for. So the next time you're driving through the infected zone, sludge coating every surface, the wall visible on the horizon, creatures that used to be human coming at you from every direction, look around at what you're actually moving through. This was a worksite once. This was the most ambitious clean energy project in human history. These were roads and buildings and research facilities full of people who believed in what they were doing. The Obsidian Group didn't build a disaster zone, it built a dream. And the dream broke something ancient and enormous and completely indifferent to human survival that has been slowly turning that dream into the nightmare you're currently driving through at high speed while Ruby yells something deeply unhinged from the passenger seat. The Obsidian Group is gone, but its consequences are everywhere, and somewhere in a fortified base inside a quarantine zone, the man who ran it all is still working, still building, still absolutely certain that Project God Killer is going to finish what the Obsidian Group started, just in a direction nobody planned for Leon Dorsey. Last man standing from the company that ended the world, still trying to save it. That's the Obsidian Group, the corporation that dreamed too big and drilled too deep. Next video, we're going deep on the most mysterious piece of this entire story, the cultists. Who were they really? How did they know what was sleeping beneath the earth? How long have they known? What does their belief system actually look like? And what does their existence reveal about the sludge god that the game never directly tells you? Subscribe so you don't miss it. And drop a comment. Do you think Leon can actually finish what the Obsidian Group started? Or is Project God Killer just another disaster waiting to happen from the same man who caused the first one? I want to know.